Welcome to another round of Greenville Triumph Weekly here with SDH Networks and OSG Sports. Busy week, middle of the big homestand. First match in a little over a week for the Greenville Triumph. Some awards that have come their way. We'll catch up with Chris Lewis, hear about that. Catch up with Marion Cole and catch up with YTSS Podcast and GVLsoccer.com's Chris Ashley in the anchor leg to find out about Jake Keegan, John Harkes, the top of the ladder, the quarter pole, everything that you needed to know about the Greenville Triumph coming up in just a little bit. Chris Lewis, just around the corner. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinski of Apolinski & Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back, Greenville Triumph Weekly. Time to catch up with the president of the Greenville Triumph, Chris Lewis, for his first visit here for this season's group of shows. Chris, good to catch up with you.
John, thanks for having me. It's great to catch up with you. I've chatted, with you a little bit and Jason a little bit over text and things of that nature. So it's good to talk to you, my friend.
Where's the New York Arrows jersey, by the way? Had to ask.
It is in the closet. I don't know if you saw. I guess it was probably 2 weeks ago or so. I texted out a picture of a T-shirt that I had, and I tagged Shep in it. And which actually, Twitter is an amazing thing. It's how I initially connected with John, and ultimately he became our head coach and sporting director. And then one of my youth soccer idols I connected with, and now he's like talking to me on Twitter about my New York Arrows T-shirts. So it was it's pretty neat. But it's the T-shirts and the jersey today are actually all hanging in the closet.
Okay, just checking because as being the obscure gear guy like I am, I always have to ask when I see somebody who's got something that's along that same vein. That same kind of stuff. I have to know where it is this exact moment.
Anytime I pull it out, I do always think of you.
Yes. All right. So, what has this road been like for the front office, from your perspective, to get a League One season back up and running in Greenville?
It has been a roller coaster for sure. You have the run up to what was supposed to be opening night on March 27th, and you work toward that all off season. You go through the scheduling process, you tweak the schedule, you get all of these things go into it. John had the guys were back in town. A lot of them arrived in January, so they were here for a month, at the better part of a month and a half, almost 2 months. And you're working toward all of that, and then all of a sudden, literally, the world changes. And for the front office, it was kind of like I think for everybody else. We were talking about it, and then all of a sudden, I guess it was a couple days after St. Patrick's Day, about a week or so out from opening night, we went to work from home, status, and then the hiatus was announced by the league. And we just started going, and all of a sudden, March turned into April, turned into July, and here we are. But it was really, it was a lot of planning. It was a lot of trying to stay engaged with season ticket members and with corporate partners. It was trying to keep our club and brand relevant. It was trying to keep engagement up for our partners. And then ultimately it was a lot of planning, and it was hard. I mean, I'm really proud of our front office staff and our technical staff. I'm proud of the whole staff in general in the club, because they had to try and plan without having any concrete schedule to plan around. And then all of a sudden, the Board of Governors approved a return to play structure. And from there, John, it seemed like we went 1,000,000 miles an hour forward, and all of a sudden it was July 18th, and the guys were down in Fort Lauderdale kicking a ball for real. And now we're at the quarter pole mark of our season. Have gotten 10 of a possible 12 points. Amazing job by John and the technical staff and the players. Great job by our front office staff in terms of prepping. And now, this coming Saturday will be the first match that we're going to have with fans, which is really cool.
How much of a challenge is it still to have a USL League One season going on in Greenville?
It's a challenge because it's very different. As I'm sure you know, and many of the people who tune in know, there are a lot of policies and procedures that go into a normal match scenario. The USL has a list a mile long of things that we have to check off every single time we kick off for a match, and it's timing, and it's obligations with regard to league partners and league protocols and all of those kinds of things. Add to that 60 pages now that are specific to protocols for COVID, and it's about safety, and it's about trying to do things the right way. We just had a Board of Governors call yesterday going over some of the areas that that have been challenges, and also pointing out the areas where the systems work and the protocols have worked. So in preparing to host fans on Saturday night, we just got off of a front office staff call going over our game operations for Saturday, and there's a lot of lists, and the message was quadruple check them. Let's make sure that we're doing this the right way, that we're doing it safely, because ultimately that's the most important thing. And certainly this is going to be new for us. We can host up to 2,000 people. I think we'll probably have half that or so based on where ticket sales are right now. But I think if we can deliver an experience where people feel comfortable and feel like the safety measures are being adhered to and they're for real, then I think slowly but surely more and more people will feel comfortable and will be able to deliver a safe game experience and a safe live sports experience, which so many people have been yearning for.
For those that haven't had the chance to go to the app or the website or anything like that, what are some of the safety measures that are being put in place at Legacy Early to make sure that this experience goes off as well as you'd like for it to go?
Well, it starts when you come through. You get in line to come through the gates, and we're doing temperature screening. We're doing contactless ticket scanning, wanding, so that there's minimal contact, if any, with regard to the security measures. We are not allowing bags outside of diaper bags, medical bags, and like small clutch purses and things. Again, to try and avoid the contact. We're going to have signage throughout the concourse, if you will, of Legacy, keeping people distanced at concession stands, keeping people distanced at the merch stand and store. We are going to require masks. If you're not eating or drinking, we are asking that you wear your mask and keep it on. And that's certainly a safety measure, but it's also part of the deal for us being able to do this. Our conversations with the state and locally with Mayor White have been socially distanced in the stands, which thanks to our ticketing partners, an algorithm is going to take care of for us, and that people are wearing masks. So I'm sure you've seen, anybody who's followed our social media since we've announced that we were granted the exemption for up to 50% capacity, is we are pressing, Matt, it's for real. Like, if you're going to be at the match, the expectation is you will wear your mask. We are, and we have been with regard to the players. We're spraying everything. Our ops team is spraying benches, spraying goals, spraying locker rooms. With fans coming in, they'll spray the seats before and after the match. We are sanitizing balls. When balls go out of play, Doug and I were chasing balls the first two matches with our spray and towels, and we're sanitizing balls when they go out of play. So there are, players have to wear masks if they're not activating on the sideline. All of our staff wear masks. So there are a litany of things that we're going through. There's a ton of signage. There will be lots of reminders. And I think, quite honestly, the response has been good. So I anticipate that people are going to be happy to be there and are going to do what they need to do to be responsible about attending and to adhere to the measures that we're putting in place to try and keep staff, players, fans, supporters all safe and healthy.
And this isn't a yellow card, red card situation. This is straight red, you're out the door. There is no room for error here, no room for not paying attention to any of the guidelines if you want to come and see the match.
Right. I mean, we're certainly, we want to keep a measure of customer service and, be friendly about it. So, it won't necessarily be straight red. If we see someone with a mask down, there could be any kind of circumstance around it. But we're going to ask. Say, please, if you're not eating or drinking, please put your mask on or lift your mask up, so that we can continue to do this. Again, it's not to be authoritarian. It's to be able to continue to do what we've worked so hard to get to. And we had to submit a number of documents to the state for review by the governor's office. And they reviewed it and felt comfortable with the measures we were taking. But now we have to execute those. And in order for that to happen, we need the upstate community and our fan base to abide by those. So it's not to be hardcore and kind of create a police state, if you will, inside the stadium. It's to keep people safe, and it's to be able to keep hosting games. We, right now we're going to be the only show in town in terms of a live sporting event for the time being, and we want to be able to continue to do that and be able to continue to have people enjoy that.
And, I mean, you can go back to, I guess, even the Bundesliga discussion, where the Bundesliga came out when they started and their protocols were all in place, and the word coming out of the Bundesliga was, okay, this is our opportunity to do this again next week. Basically, it's like, we do all these protocols, we have this laid out. This is our chance to get it right this week so we can continue to do it next week and the next week and the next week.
That is exactly it. You hit the nail exactly on the head. And quite honestly, from just a candid standpoint, obviously we've taken a hit financially. All sports, there's so many businesses that have, and at the end of the day, we're a small business, and to have any kind of revenue opportunity is important to the viability and sustainability of the club. So to be able to sell tickets is crucial, and if we lose the ability to do that because we're not adhering or we're not enforcing, people aren't being respectful of each other and of the community and of what's being asked for the opportunity to host fans and attend a live sporting event, then that goes away, and it makes it harder on everybody. So it really is. It's a match-to-match privilege, I guess, if you will, for us and for the community who can come and enjoy a match live. It's a thing that we're going to take very seriously, and our hope is that we can continue to do it. But a lot of eyes are going to be on us, through the league office and ESPN Plus, and as you may have heard, we just announced this coming Saturday is going to be televised on linear TV over the air on CW 62. So there are going to be a lot of eyes on what's going on at Legacy, and we want to make sure they're seeing the right things.
What's it been like to see the organization to an individual, whether it's those who play the matches, those who are behind the scenes, those who are part of the logistics and the front office? What's it been like to see everyone respond as a unit and as a group to get to this particular moment where you can have a special moment there in the Upstate?
It's been great. I mean, it reinforces really how blessed we are with the ownership group that we have, who has been steadfast through this, has kept our team together, has weathered this storm and gutted this out, financially, because it's, frankly, financially, it's going to be a disaster for a number of clubs. But have said, it's part of the process. It's the cards we're dealt, and we have to try and play those cards as best we can. I am incredibly proud of our staff as a whole, front office, technical, players, because everybody's done their part, and it's been a we over me mentality. The culture of our club, which is that we're a soccer family and that we're here to positively impact the community and bring joy through the game to our community, has been the guiding force for us. And I think, our players have been great about adhering to the strict guidelines that they have. John and his staff have done a remarkable job, especially when they couldn't train and could train only in groups no bigger than 4, of keeping our players' minds sharp. John assigned matches to players and asked them to break them down and talk to he and the staff about what they were seeing. So they had to do a lot of self-analysis. And the front office staff was great. I mean, in terms of keeping, it's so hard to continue to keep in touch and keep engaged when you don't have that core product, i.e. matches, to discuss with season ticket members and casual fans and corporate partners. And they hung in there and did the job and kept everybody engaged. And we're seeing that because of their reaction to be able to have fans, how excited people are. And I think the confidence level that's starting to build with regard to how we're going to deliver the experience and keep it safe and keep it in a place where people can feel comfortable going.
When you look at the season to date, how much of a surprise has it been that Triumph have gotten out of the gates as well as they have?
It hasn't been a surprise to me, because I know our head coach and sporting director and his staff incredibly well. John, we brought John on because we knew he could deliver this kind of performance. He could extract this kind of performance from the squad that he built. His staff is here for a reason, and that's because he knew and I knew that they would measure up to what the expectation was going to be. The expectation level is high, and the commitment level and loyalty level for the club has to be high. And our players live that every day. I've said from the get-go, if there's one person that's a more staunch guardian of our club's culture and the environment in which we operate than me or Joe, it's John. And he has culture is one of, if not the most critical thing to him. Part of his recruiting is recruiting for character and integrity, and you need that now. You need it when there's adversity, and Lord knows we've had adversity over the past 4 months. So you never know what's going to happen. You can train and prepare and do all of those things, and you never know how things are going to play out. But the fact that we captured 10 of 12 possible points through the first 4 matches of this season is really a testament to the how John has put the systems in place and conveyed his messages, and how Alex and Ryan and Rick and his staff have worked on getting the guys prepared, and then certainly how the guys have accepted that mentoring and that teaching, and then applied it out on the pitch.
Hey, last question for you, and thanks for hanging out with us for a bit of an extended conversation this week in the A block. You mentioned community and you mentioned commitment, and I wanted to get into the linear TV deal just as a little bit for the last question. It's something that you don't see a whole lot of, right? These days it's in streaming services and things like that, but The linear aspect of the TV product is an interesting element and an interesting add this year. How far back did the thought process go to try to bring this deal together with CW62? How long was that thought process to get it to where it is?
The thought of being on television locally and via a linear platform has been there really since the beginning. But it was one of those things that we felt like we needed to build to, and we needed to make sure was the right situation at the right time. Last season, there were some discussions about it, but as there were with a couple other things, and really the direction that, when Joe and Doug and John and I spoke, it was about, let's get our backyard in order, and let's make sure we're doing things the right way. And I think, again, from a building from the ground up of a club perspective, building the brand, integrating into the community, working to become part of the fabric of the community, and then on the field, being a top competitor in this league and in delivering at the level that John expects and frankly that our ownership expects from the players and from the front office staff was important. We continue to have those conversations though, and frankly, our owner Joe Irwin is a man of many relationships, and he's a master at crafting them and cultivating them, and just through how adept he is at creating good, solid relationships. We found a partner that was aligned with what we were looking to do and what they wanted to do with CW as one of their channels, and it's worked out, and we hope, and we're expectant that Saturday is going to go great, and that may lead to further opportunity for us on the linear side. So it's something that is kind of a work in progress. It's something we're incredibly optimistic about and excited for. And we think it'll just add another dimension, especially now when people may not feel comfortable coming out and consuming our matches in person. So this enables people to be a part of what we're doing, even if it's from the comfort and safety of their living room. And we're thankful to WSBA and CW for providing that opportunity for us and for the community.
Well, Chris, as always, it's great to catch up with you. Thanks for being a part of Greenville Triumph Weekly. Thanks for pulling back the curtain on everything that's been a long period of time, and now you're at the quarter pole of the season, going a million miles an hour. Thanks, as always, for being a part of the show. We'll catch up with you soon.
John, it's always a pleasure. Please say hi to Jason for me and the crew there, and I look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Will do. Marion Cole coming up around the corner. You're listening to Greenville Triumph Weekly. OSG Sports, SDH Networks. We'll be right back after this.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Appolinsky of Appolinsky and Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back, B Block, Greenville Triumph Weekly. Now that Chris Lewis has done the A Block, it's time for another C to do the B. Marion Cole, as always, hopping in to hang out with us. Marion, thanks for being a part of the show, as always.
Yeah, John, thanks for having me. Always good to talk to you.
All right, so from your perspective, and for those who follow the Triumph on social media, you've been pretty much the voice in the face when it comes to how important this week is going to be. What has it been like for you to get the word out this week about what's going on at Legacy early this weekend?
Honestly, it has been, I think for everyone in our organization, it has just been a whirlwind. You know, we obviously have a couple different phone calls throughout the week with certain team members and just trying to make sure that we communicate across our club correctly. And so through all these conversations, you know, the underlying theme has just been, I feel like this week has been a whirlwind, but it's a whirlwind in a really, really good way. We are all really excited about it. And we're mostly excited because the buzz around it seems to be bigger than what we probably thought it was going to be. And, you know, you never know in this kind of uncertain time and this uncertain situation how people are going to react. And we have been extremely pleased with the support of, you know, media outlets, our local broadcast. We've been extremely pleased with the support of, you know, the Reedy River Riot fans. And we understand that there are going to be people that aren't totally comfortable with it yet, but we have just been honestly pleased, honestly shocked with how excited everyone's been. And so from my end, it makes things really busy, but it's busy and it's a whirlwind in a really good way.
I was going to ask you, what has the response been from the community and from the soccer view in public, where you are going to be, the Greenville Triumph are going to be the first event that goes on in the upstate before a Clemson football game, before a Swamp Rabbits game, before a Drive baseball game. You guys are first in the barn here. This is, and I'm kind of underselling it by saying it, but this is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. And I think, to go back to what I said earlier, I think the support in the community has been overwhelmingly positive. And then you want to turn that into an internal eye. We talk about organizations, we talk about people behind the scenes, and you're a guy who gets this because you're in the business, but a lot of people don't. You know, it's surprising, but a lot of people don't understand the amount of pressure that's on our organization. And, you know, from the top, from Chris Lewis, from Joe Irwin, from Coach Hart, it has been, you know, guys, exactly what you said, this is bigger than a big deal. We are going to be one of the first examples of how to do this either above and beyond the right way, or we're going to be, you know, someone that people are going to make jokes about throughout the whole weekend. And so, you know, there's not going to be a middle ground to this. It's either going to be we knock it out of the park or we didn't do it the right way. So there has been an overwhelmingly amount of pressure that our organization has taken on ourselves, because we understand that the public may not always see that it's that big of a deal, depending on how into sports that you are. But we understand how big of a deal this is, and that this is not only our one chance really to get it right, but I feel like, and a couple of us feel like, this is how everyone's going to take live sports out of market sports for the remainder of seasons. You know, we're going to be that first example of how sports in general are going to do this and how they're going to do it well. So you're right, it is a huge amount of pressure, but again, this is something that's got to happen, and this is something that is going to bring positive joy to the community, and we're prepared to do it above and beyond the right way. And so I hope it brings nothing but joy to the community, and I hope that we're the only ones feeling that pressure, and that they just come in and have a great and have an easy experience and feel totally safe.
All right, let's talk about what's going on the pitch, quarter pole, top of the ladder, and you look at what has been going on, and Harksey got the hardware for Coach of the Month, but, you know, when you come out of the blocks as strong as the Triumph have done at the quarter pole, you know, the results have been there so far.
Yeah, and talk about, you know, Munson Harkley, they're not using it on the phone all day. I'm sure that you haven't even seen it, but at 3 o'clock today, USL announced that Jake Keegan was also the League One Player of the Month for July. So, I mean, the recognition's there. And it's interesting because it's a totally different start to the season than last year. Last year it was a struggle to get a win. It was really a struggle to get a goal, and we come in the first quarter of this and have 6 goals on the sheet. 3 from Jake, and J.J. Donnelly gets his first professional goal. Alex Morel and his guy as well comes on and scores the first goal of the entire season. So the crazy thing is, I talked to him throughout practice this week and last week, and the crazy thing is he doesn't even feel like we're close to where we should be as far as the talent and the depth of this squad. There have been times that collectively you can kind of see amazingly bright spots, and there have been times where individuals have kind of made the collective a little bit disjointed, and that just comes from not having the preseason to really finesse those things through. So I think this is just, you worry about peaking too soon. You always hear coaches talk about that. We want to peak at the right time. We don't want to get out too early. But I see this Greenville Triumph squad as a steady progression throughout the rest of the season, honestly.
Well, and then, when you have someone between the sticks like you've got, last time I checked, if the other team doesn't put one in the back of the net, you've got at least a good chance of getting out with a point pretty much every time.
Absolutely. So you pair basically the defense plus some that we have from last year. Fricky has been an amazing addition to the back line. Him and Evans just seem to click like it's no problem. You have Tyler Pollock, who is, above and beyond, in my opinion, one of the best defenders in the league. And then you had Abdi and a couple of other guys that have stepped in Abdi's absence. And so you have this amazing back line that you did just last year, and you add some new pieces to it. You have an improved Dallas J. Dallas, to me, whether you can see it in the games or not, his comfortability, with his feet, his comfortability with talking and with directing his back line is even more so than when it was last year, and he was phenomenal last year. So you pair that back line, and then you pair an offense and an attack that actually seems to click and doesn't need this kind of sympathetic, they just need some time, they just got to find that groove. Now then, they found it, and they found it at a really quick pace, and I think that that's only going to continue to progress as they continue to play each other and you continue to throw these little nuances. I mean, the attack that we have this year is so dynamic in the fact that they don't really play. You'll never see them play the same position, and I say that very loosely. It's an attack that is just dynamic, and Alex Morel is going to come in from the wing and take Jake's spot. Jake's going to make that second run around the back of the defender's shoulder, and then you're going to have Tyler Pollock bump the back line, pushing into the attack through the flank. So, I mean, there's just so many moving parts. So, if you split that up, an amazing back line, and an attack that's already found their groove 4 games into the season, and then you mesh that as a team, then you have us. And so, I'm with you. I think, you keep goals out of the back of the net. If you continue to score like we have, then it's hard to imagine that we're not going to have a real chance in this thing.
Chattanooga comes to town. They were supposed to have a midweek match, but it got postponed because of weather. Shocking that would happen in the Southeast in the summertime. But Chattanooga's coming to town, and what's Study Hall been like getting ready for Red Wolves as they come to Legacy early?
So the Red Wolves actually have a pretty dynamic attack themselves. Greg Hirsch has been a pretty key piece for them. He actually leads the league in goals right now with 4, and I believe Jake is second with 3. He was a player that, he was hurt a little bit last year. He came in late last year. Fitness wasn't quite there last year, and he seems to be finding the pieces and finding the spaces, no problem. He's kind of that traditional Scottish attacker that he's got the pace and he can exploit gaps in behind, and their midfield is very dominant. To me, that's probably the best midfield the Triumph has faced thus far this season. So Aaron Walton's going to have his work cut out for him. The midfield's going to have their work cut out for him, making sure that they set the tempo, because the Red Wolves are scary. If they get tempo and if they get confident, especially in the midfield, they're just going to be pinging balls in behind and trying to exploit gaps left and right. So I think it's really going to be a battle of who can win the midfield, if you can set the tempo at the midfield positions to really drive the game home, because if the game gets stretched, it could be problematic.
Marion Cole hanging out with us, as always, here as part of the C's that are going to be a part of the show. So this particular C was in the B block. Marion, as always, thanks for hanging out with us here on Greenville Triumph Weekly. We will catch up with you next time. Thanks for the preview of a big weekend in Greenville.
Yeah, John, thanks for having me on. Talk to you soon.
When we come back, Chris Ashley. Yeah, that soccer show, GVLsoccer.com. It's the third C. And because it's the third block, C makes sense. C block. Chris Ashley, around the corner. Greenville Triumph Weekly, SDH Network's OSG Sports will be right back after this.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinsky of Apolinsky and Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Welcome back. Anchor Leg, Greenville Triumph Weekly, which means it's time to catch up with Chris. Not that Chris from the A block, this Chris Ashley. Yeah, that soccer show. YTSS, the podcast, GVLsoccer.com. Welcome back, and this time it's we've got games to talk about and important stuff in the upstate as well.
Yeah, definitely lots of stuff happening this weekend, lots of different things going to be going on, people in the stands, Triumph on local broadcast TV, all kinds of stuff happening.
So what have you had a chance to gauge the lay of the land when it comes to fans and whether or not they're going to be going, or are they going to be watching? I mean, there's a lot. It's almost a three-dimensional look here at what's going on this weekend for something really big in the upstate. I mean, what have you been able to gauge? What's the temperature in the room?
I would say it's a good mixture of both. I think there are certainly people who are trying to be diligent and careful and maybe have some compromising immune systems or just want to be extra cautious in the midst of everything that's going on in our world. And so there are definitely folks that are going to be watching from home. I think on the other hand, you have some people that are really excited to be able to go and do something and watch some live sports. You know, the local baseball team, the Greenville Drive, has not been able to play. The hockey team ended early, so there's really not been a lot going on. So I think folks are itching to get back that are more in that mood. The great thing is, I think, with the fan base, you know, particularly with the Reedy River Riot, they're doing a great job of kind of being inclusive to everyone and everyone's needs. They are definitely going to have a presence at the game, although it is going to be much more muted with some of the protocols in place. And they're also still going to do their virtual watch along. But really the great thing, like I mentioned before, you know, the team has this local broadcast deal with WSPA, and they're going to be running on the CW station here. So that's going to not only provide an opportunity for folks who maybe don't have ESPN Plus, which is still a great deal, but some folks don't have that dispensable income to throw that way. That's going to open it up to even more people, and maybe even people who wouldn't go watch a soccer game. Hey, I can watch a local sports team here on TV without even having to have cable. I can just get my rabbit ears out and watch the Greenville Triumph on Saturday.
Yeah, and that was what I was going to get into with you about the linear deal, is that you're giving it the opportunity, you're giving the Triumph as a product and a brand this chance to be seen by folks who wouldn't have that opportunity. Whether, as you mentioned, disposable income with ESPN Plus, it might be an older demographic who isn't all that savvy when it comes to computers and streaming services and all that kind of stuff. And having this linear outlet, I think, adds that extra dimension to what has been going on with the building of the brand there in the upstate with Greenville.
Yeah, I think that's something the Triumph has done really well from day one. The Irwins and Chris Lewis have always said this team is for this community. Like, obviously it's a business. Obviously they want it to be profitable. But I do think Joe Irwin's heart is to give this team to this community as part of his legacy. And, he's a person that he wasn't born here, but he's lived here for a long time, and he really, really loves the upstate. And so I think continuing to broaden their presence and broaden the awareness of the brand is huge for a team, particularly at this level of soccer in the States.
Harksey gets Coach of the Month honors, not a surprise.
Not a surprise, no. And I don't know if you've seen this, but just today, Jake Keegan also named Player of the Month to start the season. So the Triumph, really, with the clean sweep there, again, no shock. Keegan has come out. He had a slow start to kick off his scoring campaign last season. He's come out this year ready, I think, with a chip on his shoulder. He didn't get to finish last year with an injury. I think he wants to get that Golden Boot award. He's really, really itching for it. He wants to score goals. So he's had a heck of a month. Coach Hart's, again, we talked about last week, 10 points out of 12 through the first 4 matches. Like, that's incredible. This team is looking more like the team of the end of last season more than they are of the team at the beginning of last season.
And with Chattanooga coming to town, it's obviously, the weather, and I talked about this with Marion Cole in the last block. It's like Chattanooga's match midweek was postponed because of weather. I know that's an incredible surprise in the Southeast in the summertime that something would be pushed back or postponed because of weather. But when you look at Chattanooga, obviously a lot of folks gravitate toward a first-year head coach in Jimmy Obleda and Greg Hurst, who's been putting the ball in the back of the net a lot for them. Yeah,
and Chattanooga is a team that comes in here and they're unbeaten, just like Greenville is. Obviously, I would have loved for them to have played a midweek game too, and then they would have had 3 games in 7 days, where the Triumph had been kind of on a 10-day rest window. But hey, things happen. But at the same time, they were mentally prepared to play on Wednesday night. They sat through a couple rain delays, and regardless of playing or not, getting in that mental space and then not being able to turn it on for a player, that has some impact on them. So I do think they're going to come in a little bit at a disadvantage in terms of matching up against the Triumph. I think on paper, all things being equal, these two teams match up really well against each other. But I do think Chattanooga's got kind of a reset on their back line. They've obviously got Alex Mangles returning back in goal, and they've got Ualifi there in the defensive midfield. That kind of helps make up for some of that turnover on the back line. I think a first-year head coach could typically be something this early in a season, but with the layoff, it's not like this is a brand new coach and it's game number 4 for them in April. This is August. They've been practicing. They've been together for a while. I don't know that new coach and new system really is that big of a deal, but I do think, all things considered, I think Greenville are going to have a little bit of an edge here in this matchup.
And you look at how things have gone, and we know that the League One season is going to be a sprint, and it is schedule compression, it is depth, it is managing minutes, it's managing your guys, it's getting adjusted to travel. And when you've got a motor coach like the Triumph have, obviously, that's a good way to manage your travel and have something like that, which is pretty sweet. But at the same time, you have all of this stuff that you're having to balance, and it looks like a team like Greenville has found the early keys to managing this sprint as best they can.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that comes from the continuity from year one to year two. A second year under Coach Arts' system, yes, we had some turnover, but I think you could almost field an entire starting 11 with returners for us. You brought back a huge core of this team, a core of guys that not only go back to last year, but go back to Cincinnati with Coach Arts. So there's a lot of familiarity there. There's a lot of continuity there. I think that's what's helped Greenville get off to such a quick start. And I really think, John, that these early results, because it's a sprint, because it's a condensed season, because only 2 people are getting into the final, there's no playoffs, getting early results the way that Greenville is huge, more so than it would be in a full season, in a season that's going, March to October, in a season that's going July to October, August to October. It's even more important for them to get these early results and to be getting wins, even kind of unconventionally with Richmond and with Tormenta. To be able to get these wins is huge. 3 points versus 1 point is a big deal. And so Saturday night with fans in the stands, they are going to want to put 3 points on the standings and distance themselves even further.
I was going to say, right now, Union Omaha, with a good run of form, is a game in hand, 3 points behind. But really, when you look at the rest of the standings, Chattanooga, Tormenta at 5 points, North Texas, Richmond at 4, OCB, Tucson, Fort Lauderdale CF with their win in Statesboro get their first points of the season. So really, you're looking at 4 points separating 2 through 9. Ford Madison and Revs 2 are part of the action at the bottom with 1 point so far. But you mentioned how important, and you're also in the middle of a 3-game homestand too, so I think the idea to make that hay while you're at home and try to put the pedal down as quickly as possible to distance yourself, I think it's key.
Yeah, and you talk about Union Omaha, I think really it's been a surprise, a brand new team coming out and playing the way they are. I'm grateful that we only play them once this year. It'll be at the end of the season. Hopefully we may even have that final spot locked up by then. It's the last home match, and it will be in Greenville. So they'll be traveling from Nebraska. They've looked really good and really dangerous, and maybe if all things stay on track, they'll come to us for that last home game, and then they'll have to come back to the championship. That'd be amazing.
All right, subtle plug time. What's going on at gvlsoccer.com and at YTSS?
Yeah, you can follow us at YTSS Podcast on Twitter. Yesterday dropped the match preview for this weekend on gvlsoccer.com. Dropped the preview pod and the recap pod on That Soccer Show, all the podcatchers you can find. And you can follow me over at GVL Soccer Guy if you want to and hear all my spicy takes.
Chris Ashley, as always, great to have you as a part of the show, whether it's in a 1v1 in the in-between weeks or as the anchor leg here on Greenville Triumph Weekly. Chris, good to catch up with you. Have a safe weekend. Have a good weekend, and we will catch up with you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, John.
Put a bow on a show when we come back. You're listening to Greenville Triumph Weekly. OSG Sports. SDH Networks will be right back after this.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service Ad Council and your state forester.
As a business owner, you know that every year brings new challenges and opportunities. The success of your business demands expertise and focus. And Country Financial can help you keep that focus by helping ensure you have the right insurance protection in place to meet your goals. Jason Wright can help you create a customized insurance plan that has coverages designed just for your business. Give Jason a call at 678-568-6871 or reach him on Facebook at Jason Wright Agency. Coverages vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Georgia. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Georgia High School Association and the Georgia Athletic Directors Association.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, contact my friend Steve Apolinsky of Apolinsky and Associates. He's been representing individuals for over 30 years throughout Georgia and Alabama. Email him at steve@aa-legal.com or call him 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
Time to put a bow on yet another show for Greenville Triumph Weekly. Thanks for hanging out with us. Big matchup against Chattanooga Red Wolves coming up this weekend, 7 o'clock at Legacy early. If you're in the area, you can watch it on ESPN+. Chris Makoviak, Ross Davenport on the call. Also, you can watch on the CW62, part of WSPA's family of networks there in the upstate. So it is the broadcast, as you can catch up with Chris and Ross on linear. You can catch up with him on stream. But limited fans available. Go to greenvilletriumph.com. Get all the rules and regs that you need if you are going to make the trek over to Legacy early for Chattanooga and for the Greenville Triumph. Thanks for hanging out with us for the show that was brought to you by the letter C. Chris Lewis, Marion Cole, Chris Ashley. Play it safe, everybody. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the match this weekend.